It's time to go!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Claude and the Bansters. Hope you're all safe and well. We've got a cracking show for you tonight, all in aid of raising a lot of money, hopefully, for the NHS. We've got a great lineup tonight, some big names. We'll start with, obviously, the biggest name on the panel at the moment. We can't thank him enough for coming on, and that's Robbie from AFTV. How you doing, Robbie? Hope you're well. Yeah,
good. Lockdown fever.
and another 3 weeks.
You meant me, Terry.
Yes, I thought you meant.
You're the big boss man. Claude. You're the big boss man.
All right.
We've also got a great guest from a Manchester United fan. Sophie, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Hope you're doing well too, Terry. Thank you for having me on as well. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for joining us. We've also got.
I never forget that bit of skewer over DT's head. I still remember
it. You've always got to bring that up.
We've also got another big name, Liverpool, big, massive Liverpool supporter, going through a little bit of an hard time recently, but I'm just so glad that he's agreed to come on and join us. And that's Craig. How you doing, mate? I hope you're well.
I'm not too bad, thank you, mate. I'm truly humbled and pleasure to be on here with you guys to try and raise money for what is a truly magnificent cause. So thank you for inviting me on.
Glad to have you on, mate. I'm really pleased that you accepted in the end. Also got the big boss man himself, Claude. Hope you're good and safe and well, mate.
Yeah, just about another 3 weeks of this. I'm getting used to it, you know. I'm getting used to it. I think I'm liking it. I'm actually getting to like it.
And we've also got a fellow Banster with me, the good-looking one out of us all, I think, and it's Diesel.
Stop it.
Mate, you all right?
Yeah, all good, thanks, Tel. Yeah, listen, I've done quite a few of these at the moment, and this is the one I've been looking forward to the most. It's a great cause, and I just want to give my thanks on behalf of myself and the boys to Robbie, Sophie, and Craig for coming on. Absolute honour to have you guys on, so much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I'm not going to lie, I'm falling in love with Diesel already, man. He's a handsome bastard, isn't he?
Never trust the camera, Craig. Never trust the camera.
Just to let everyone know, thank you very much, Bench Free, for your super chat. But we'd rather not have any super chats tonight. If you can go over to the link, I don't think you can click it off of StreamYard. So if you just copy it or type it in the web page, or go over to our Instagram, Claude and the Bansters, or the Twitter page, you can go and donate there. That'd be absolutely brilliant, please. But I'll just quickly read out a couple of super chats we've got here. He's put Robbie, the porn star, will sexy, deep, erotic voice. Well. Daniel. He had a great show this afternoon. Everyone go over and give it a watch. He had Mr. Kevin Campbell on, and he's put, evening, guys. Hope you're all good. Looking forward to the show. And just before we move on,
having said all that, with Daniel, that show with Kevin Campbell, it's a great discussion, and really, I beg people to go and have a look at that. There was a really good discussion about everything, Arsenal, transfers, what's going to happen. It was a really good discussion, so get on it.
Yeah, just before we move on with the show, I just want to say what an unbelievable thing it is for Mr. Tom Moore, a 99-year-old man that's been through 2 world wars. He contracted the coronavirus. He's beat the coronavirus, come out of hospital. He wanted to raise £1,000 for the NHS. Piers Morgan got behind him on GMTV and that. And at the moment, he's now raised over £14 million. So
amazing. What a guy he is. What a guy.
Yeah,
everyone's talking about being on lockdown, and then he's out there doing that. I think fair play to him. Super.
Exactly. And
I said to my kids, I go, you lot don't even want to go down the shop. This guy's 99. I mean, he's walking around. He go around. Sorry, it's incredible.
Yeah, no,
incredible.
And all the calls.
Let's hope he reaches 100.
Exactly, yeah, and all the calls for him to be knighted. I think that'd be the least we can do for a man that's done everything and been through everything like that. So let's call him by his real name, Sir Tom Moore.
Yeah, I'd second that. Yeah, I second that, and I hope he does get the recognition he deserves. What we should start with, looking at our, should we start looking at our season so far? We'll start with Craig, Liverpool. Up until this happened, we're cruising along to the title, doing really well. How do you feel? How do you feel about the season so far? What's your real thoughts?
If we're looking at it just from where we're up to right now, with the games left to play, look, how can I complain? It's been unbelievable from our lads. It's been a progression over a couple of years, building from Jurgen Klopp and the recruitment team. I've got to be honest with you, and it's easy for me to sit here and look at this from a Liverpool-centric perspective. It would be great if we could finish this to win the season, but people's health and safety have to come before anything else. But just getting back to the season, I said to myself last summer, if we can be in touch and distance with Manchester City come Christmas, I'm going to be a very, very happy man. Little did I know that we would get the start of the season that we had. I mean, getting knocked out by Atleti in the Champions League was a kick in the teeth. Getting knocked out in the FA Cup as well was a kick in the teeth. But you know what? Sometimes you need these wake-up calls, and it's easy for some fans who have been getting greedy and talking about invincible seasons and stuff like that. I said all along, I don't care. It's about ending 30 years of hurt for our football club. And if we crawl over that line, if we stumble and fall over that line, mate, I don't care. It's just about getting the job done. But as a Liverpool fan, it's been a dream of a season so far. Claude, I'm not going to lie, I have nothing to complain about.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I've got to say, I really hope that the season can somehow finish so you can get the champion, the league that you deserve. I think to avoid the season, I think would be cruel, and I'm talking as a neutral now. Would be really cruel because you do deserve it. I mean, come on. You've won most of your games. You've had one draw and one defeat, and incredible stat. And I just can't. I just hope, even if it's behind closed doors or whatever way, that you deserve to finish the season off and to win the actual league title. As a Man United fan, Soph, how have you felt this season?
I mean, up until Bruno came in,
go through your season.
So obviously we had a bit of a up and down, I'd say, start to the season. I think Bruno coming in has really transformed us. The whole feeling of the club since Bruno Fernandes has come in is a lot more positive. So I'm actually sad that obviously we've paused at the time that we have, because Bruno was making such an influence and Pogba coming back as well. A lot of United fans are really excited to the prospect of them playing with each other. But like you say, I think behind closed doors is probably the safest way to do it. Either way, I do think the season needs to be played out. I think you look at Liverpool's situation, and of course they deserve the title. You have to say that. But also you look at it gets messy at the bottom of the league. You're looking at teams like Villa who are fighting to stay up, and I think that's where it gets really tricky, because financially, if they call the season now, it can have a massive effect on their club. And of course, as a United fan, we're fighting for the Champions League. If we avoid it now, we're going to be stuck with Europa League football, and talks of Sancho and players like that coming in. I think it's going to make a big difference whether we get Champions League or not. So, of course, I want to see the season played out. I'm excited to see Pogba and Bruno Fernandes playing in the same team together. I think that's an exciting prospect for a United fan. Very up and down up until Bruno came in, but like I say, he's transformed the whole feeling at the club now. It just feels so different.
Fair enough. How do you feel? Do you feel that as a rival fan, do you feel that honestly the season should be finished, or do you feel it should Liverpool have the chance to win the league? Be honest with me.
Liverpool should win the league. I'm not denying that. Most United fans, of course, will sit here and say we don't want them to win the league, and we'll obviously relish the fact that they don't. But you have to look at they deserve it. You can't have a team as far ahead as Liverpool playing the way they've done, like you say, winning most games. They deserve to win the league. And as a football fan, talking as a neutral football fan, you have to hold your hands up and say they deserve that. But I think in the grand scheme of things, health has to come first regardless. So if they called the season, I'm sure most Liverpool fans, you'd be gutted, but you have to accept it because the rates in the UK at the moment, obviously, doesn't seem to be getting any better at the minute. And I think that you have to ultimately say health comes first. So I think fans will understand it, but it's just disheartening, isn't it? And like I say, it gets more messy for me at the bottom of the league with the teams who are fighting relegation.
I've got a super chat in. What I'll do here, because people are not listening and not putting it. Thanks, Terry, for that. But what I'll do is anything under under 10, I will put the super chats into the pot after the end of the night. Yeah, so count up the super chats and I'll put them into the NHS thing after. Yeah, because I think people are not really understanding. Thanks for that, Terry. But what we wanted to do, I'll put that into the. I'll match that up and put it in later on. Yeah. So okay. Thanks for that, Terry. Thank you very much. That's Terry from the Football Terrace. You was on there last night. So wasn't you? Football Terrace.
Yeah. I just want to thank Terry again for that. Thank you for inviting me, mate. That was a great show.
Yeah. We'll come to Robbie. Arsenal. I mean, I thought Arsenal were starting to pick up. I think this is starting to pick a little bit of form after the European exit. Do you think it's a benefit now for Arsenal to finish the season, or how do you see it?
Well, yeah, you're right. You know, I mean, we finished the last season off very poorly, culminating, of course, in losing the Europa League, and then we started this season very poorly under Unai Emery. I think we know now, after the weekend, I think we found out the reason why. If anything, to go by this, the lady who came out that reportedly was having an affair with Emery, and Emery said that the form started to dip when she left him. Well, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But you know what? It was weird the way everything fell away.
Hands off my ex-wife. That's why I left after 6 weeks, mate. Anyway,
but since Mikel Arteta's come in, I have to say he's been a breath of fresh air. What I like about him, he's got every player playing to the best of their ability, and when that's what you have, that's all you can do is get the best out of what you've got, and I think he's doing that. I mean, guys like Mustafi, who everybody would have been like, right, I'm going to drive him to whichever club he wants to go to. He's been playing really well. Somebody like Xhaka, who, of course, we had that big incident where he stormed off the pitch. I think he's been playing very well, you know. So Mikel Arteta has been getting the very best out of what he's got. And I think that Arsenal would have had a decent chance of, you know, making a challenge for the top 4/5. Remember, top 5, I think will get you into the Champions League, because I do think that ban on Man City will get upheld for at least a year anyway. I don't think they're going to get away with it fully. So when you look at it, the season finishing may not be the greatest thing for Arsenal, because we might have had a chance of possibly getting into, you know, that 5th or 4th position. But, you know, you've got to say the season's been a very mixed one, and there's a lot of Arsenal fans who are probably looking at it and thinking, you know, the quicker it finishes, the better, because it weren't going well. But I'm pleased with Arteta. Arteta's, I think, you know, if you look at it, he's not lost a game this year. I mean, I know there's been a few draws there, but he's not lost a game this year. So I think he's really starting to turn the corner of Arsenal, but it is still very early.
Yeah.
I think as a rival fan, you have to say. As a rival fan, you have to say.
Sorry, Sabi, go on. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was going to say Arteta has improved Arsenal, like from the outlook. You can see the style of football, like you said. It seems a confidence about Arsenal there, which you didn't have under Emery. Players seemed frightened almost to play to the full potential, and I think since Arteta has come in, you can see that you're getting a style of play. You've got a culture there now, and I think, like you say, it's a start of things, but he's making progress definitely, and I think it'll be exciting times for Arsenal. I really do, with Arteta in charge.
Yeah, the only thing is about it is that what I worry about is with this whole coronavirus crisis is what are we going to look like after it? You know, you're already hearing the owners of the club saying things like, you know, this is the biggest thing they've faced in the history of the club, and asking players to take pay cuts and stuff like that. Now, you know, I mean, I see us getting linked with literally every player going. I don't think Arsenal will be spending hardly any money. I mean, if anything, they'll be looking to move players out. There's always the worry that they might try and cash in on Aubameyang, you know. So, and he's a vital player if we are to do anything going forward, you know. So it's what sort of Arsenal's going to be left. And it all depends what happens with the rest of the season as well. I mean, I heard you guys talking about it. I'm really starting to doubt that we can get this season. I mean, I don't know. It's mixed. Because you hear so many reports. I know that tomorrow they're going to be sort of making a decision on whether they're going to try and see if they can get it finished by June or something like that. I can't see that.
No.
I would like to see the season finished. I really would. Because you know, so we can have, you know, we can have a. But if it can't be finished, I just feel that, you know, then you just have to say the season's completely void and you start again next year. I mean, I know, and I'm sorry, you know, I forgot your name, sir, but is it Craig?
It is, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Craig. I know it would hurt as a Liverpool fan, and you know, but I don't think you can just say give the title to Liverpool and we void the season. Yeah. I think if it's void, it's void. You just have to say we have to start again. It's nobody's fault. It's unfortunate. But I really want the season to be finished. But how
I got to, Robbie. I got to say, Robbie, as a Liverpool fan, I don't want Liverpool to have an exclamation mark or an asterisk beside a title-winning season. So I'm with you in that sense. I don't want Liverpool to be just given the title because we're so far ahead. But what I would say is just think of the litigious aspect of what's going to happen if the season was to be declared null and void. Pushing aside our side of things, as I said earlier on, it's easy for me to look at this through Liverpool tinted glasses and want the league to finish. And I'd be a liar if I said I didn't. Of course I do. But you've also got to look at the things like the European places, promotion, relegation, who comes up from League One, League Two. The Premier League or the FA could, in theory, be almost bankrupted by litigation. We've seen what's going on with Manchester City and UEFA and how much money it's going to cost to push that through the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So can you guys imagine? I mean, we've seen when they cancelled below the National League North and South, you already had clubs like #United and that coming together threatening legal consequence. It would be a nightmare, mate. I just don't know how it would work forward. So like you've touched on, Robbie, I think there has to be some resolution that sees a completion of the season somehow. Now, I'm not intelligent enough to know what that is, mate, but I think there has to be one somehow.
I think it's either you say we finish it when we sorry. I think it's either we say we finish it when we finish it. So even if that meant playing into September, October, we finished it then and then started. Or you just have to say, well, this season, unfortunately, is null and void. Refund back the fans their money for those season tickets for them last 10 games and start again in September. Because, you know, you've
also got to think about Robbie, about refunding the broadcasters, refunding everyone that bought a home shirt, refunding. There's just so many little things that you and I and many of us will never think of.
Yeah.
True, but these are exceptional times, and it's nobody's fault, is it? It's nobody's. You know, if it can't be played, it can't be played. What can we do? You know what I mean? And nobody wants this situation. Nobody at all in the world of football wants this situation. But if it can't be played, what can we do? We just have to start again. I don't want to see that. But, you know, I want to make that clear. I don't want to see that. I want to see the season finish. Liverpool deserve to be crowned the champions. Leeds and West Brom deserve to be able to come up. But how are you going to do it if we can't do it, sort of thing? And I mean, you know, our decisions going to have to be made at some stage.
There are solutions, and I wonder what you all think of this. I mean, how about we do try and get it finished, maybe extend it till September, October. We get rid of the League Cup for one season, which is not a big loss, really, to be honest with you. And we do the FA Cup with no replays, and the Champions League comes a knockout competition. What about that? I mean, rather than all these group stages and all that, and normal. and I think we could fit next season in quite easily. I don't know what you think about that, but what do you think about that, Diesel? I mean,
yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, it's a good idea, but in saying that, if you're cutting games, you're also cutting this clubs. I mean, even in the groups, the amount of money these clubs make from those games alone, And this is the thing. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, whichever way I think, oh, that would be a good idea, or that might work, or this might work. There's always a complication, and no one comes out of this a winner, if I'm honest. And I think. I look at it. I change my mind on this every day. Sometimes I think, no, the season's going to be void. I can't see how they're going to do it. And then there's another part of me that thinks the fact that there's only 8 games to go, which in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of games, and it makes me think to myself, if they were going to avoid this season, I personally believe they would have come out and said it by now. So that tells us that they're looking at every possible avenue to try and complete the season. Yeah. I'm nearing more towards the side of I think they will. How they're going to do it, I don't quite know. Whether it be behind closed doors. The only other scenario I can see is they void the season, and wherever you finished in the league, that is it. But again, there's going to be winners of that out of that scenario, but there's also going to be a lot of losers. It's a tough one.
Yeah, Terry, what about you, mate? What do you reckon?
To be honest, I don't see what the big hoo-ha is for me. I think we need to finish the season no matter what. So if that means, July, August, even September, October, we should get the season done. And then what we should do is obviously once we've found out when we can play it and how long it will take and get the season finished. And then what we should do is next season, just make it like a 20-game season. If every club comes together and agrees it, instead of, having all these complications with, like Craig said, with sponsorship, TV deals, season ticket money and things like that, every club can come together next season, just make it like a 20-game season, and we just carry on from there, and everything all stays in place then, like the Euros and the World Cup. Otherwise, you're going to get into like proper bad situations.
Also, what you're saying, because with all this going on at the moment, when we start this season off again, they'll have a little pre-season as well, won't they? Before to get back into training and everything. Do we really need another gap between the old season and the new season as well? We don't need that big gap again, do we? I mean, because we've had that pre-season beforehand, so it can be done. There's a lot of things that can be done, and I think we need time on this. I think we've got to give Liverpool, not just Liverpool, by the way. There's Sheffield United, there's Man United, Arsenal fighting for European places. There's Leeds and West Brom looking for promotion. We've got to give everyone that chance. I think they have to have that chance to fulfill. I don't think we should be rash with this voiding the season. So because it's not on. I think everyone's got to be given a chance. For me, what's the chat here? What's the chat come up here?
It's Doug. He's one of the subscribers from our channel. He also has his own channel. He said, hi, Claude, Robbie, Craig, and Sophie.
I've donated £30. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you so much to Dugout for Football Channel. Thank you so much.
Can I just take a second to just give a little shout out to Doug, because I know he's gone through a really tough time.
Yeah, I know.
Very close to his grandfather, and his grandfather unfortunately is in a nursing home at the minute, and he recently celebrated a birthday, and he posted a lovely picture of his granddad with an Easter bunny ears on today. So I just want to give a little shout out to Doug and wish his family the best.
All the best, Doug.
All the best, Doug. All the best, mate.
I wish Matthew Dorn has come up with a donation here, but it's gone on Super Chat. We'll transfer that over anyway, so we'll transfer it over from Super Chat. It says, lockdown not being followed. London's like a normal day and getting worse and worse. Yeah, I agree with you, because I went over Finsbury Park the other day, walking along Finsbury Park where I live, and there's people playing five-a-side football. So, yeah, I agree. It's not. No one's abiding by the rules, but what can you do? I mean, maybe we need the police or the army around. I don't know what to say. So thank you, Matthew. I'll transfer that anyway.
That's just going to be along the season, isn't it? And what's going to happen, the decision, if obviously we're in lockdown for longer because people behaving like that. It's not going to help for anybody.
It's not that. It's that we got. Why can't people just sit indoors? All we've got to do, as normal, all we've got to do is sit indoors for a few weeks while these nurses and doctors, right, are putting their lives at risk as well because they're treating the patients and doing everything possible to get everything sorted. And what are we doing? Why can't we do the simple thing? Just stay indoors, and if you've got to go out to do a 5-minute, half an hour walk, do it. But why can't we just do that? It's just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just.
Do you think you can get the army or someone else involved?
We need that. We need that. And there's maybe sometimes we need a shoot on sight. We need maybe.
To be over the top.
No, we need it. No, Robbie, you say over the top.
That's Claude, right?
You say it's over the top, but a warning. Either you walk or you get shot, and maybe that might wake a few people up. I'm sorry. It's time we woke up a bit.
No, we could release the old. Do you remember the old tango lad with the big orange hand? We could release him going around tangoing the shit out of people who weren't listening.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? It's because these people are putting people's lives at risk by going out.
No, do you know what?
That's a bit harsher.
Claude, if that came into play, I wouldn't even go out in the garden.
I can see where Claude's passion comes from, because obviously there's a lot of workers out there. You know what I mean? That's working on the front line. That's working in care homes. That are isolating themselves from going home to their own ass, where they've got their husbands, wives, kids, children, so they don't infect them. So they're isolating for 3, 4, 5, up to 2 months themselves, and away from their own families. And yet we can't, as a nation, stay indoors for a couple of weeks. I think it's an absolute disgrace myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got nations like Spain and Italy that have been in lockdown for like nearly 2 months. You get fined for being out on the street. And yet, as a nation, we think that we can beat this by just ignoring the rules. I mean, come on, what's the matter with these people?
It's a good point, but what about like Kyle Walker, for example, Jack Grealish, people like that who are meant to be role models? They're out and about when they've just released videos saying stay inside, save lives, and they're still going out and not following the rules. That doesn't help, because it's the mindset of your big and the law, and I hate that. And I think that obviously I'm not. Jack Grealish has made mistakes and he came out and responded the right way, as did Kyle Walker. But if they're role models, we already say footballers are constantly in the public eye, and these are the kind of people who should be sending out that message.
I think to just add on to what Sophie said there, I think it has to start from the very top. And look, I have no political allegiances either way, but when you've seen Boris Johnson going around shaking hands with people, and when you hear people, for me, and again, I'm not qualified to talk about this, but I think we should be listening to the scientists in these situations and not doctors. Or we need to be listening to the people, the infectious disease experts. I mean, we're English and Irish, and we're all different races in here, and we're all different cultural backgrounds and religions. But when you see, let's use America as an example, you see Donald Trump coming out and having his little speech every day, and then you see Dr. Fauci coming in after him, basically saying, and I'm rounding everything that lad said is bullshit. I'm going to tell you now exactly what the truth is and what to do. Sophie was bang on. These people, and they are young men. It's important to realize that as well. And young men in their situations. And Robbie, you and I and Claude, and we probably remember being young vaguely at some point in our lives, but you felt invincible when you were younger. And when you get a little bit older in life, you kind of get to feel those aches and pains. And my daughter's, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she's in the house going crazy wanting to get out because they feel invincible. And somebody as fit as Jack Grealish and Kyle Walker, that they probably feel like I can take these little chances. But Sophie hit the nail on the head. It has to come from the top, and everybody has to lead, because these people are influences for a reason, and their actions do lead to other people taking heed to what they say. So well done, Sophie, on that one. I totally agree.
Yeah.
The other thing as well, what I'd say, right, is that I hope that when this is over, all the love that the NHS is getting, and it's great that you guys are doing this stream, donating to the NHS. I hope that is continued on by these politicians. You know what I mean? And they show
exactly
the respect to these people, because it's not just this crisis that they. I mean, my dad sadly passed away the other day, but he was in hospital even before this coronavirus crisis, and he was up in hospital in Manchester. And I have to say, the nurses and the doctors they were brilliant, right? And I see how hard the shifts they put in. I mean, like, a lot of times I come back the next day to visit my dad after having a sleep, and the same people are still working. I'm like, "Ain't you gone home yet?" And they're like, "No, we've still got a couple of hours left." I'm like, "What?" You know, and they're not the best paid. They've never really had the right respect that they deserve. And I'm hoping that, you know, it's all good and well us clapping for them at 8 o'clock on a Thursday and stuff like that. But I hope that when this is all over, that these people get rewarded properly. These people get the respect that they deserve, because they haven't. It's not just during this crisis. They've been doing this sort of service for years. You know, ambulance drivers. I know a guy's an ambulance driver. You know, some of the sites they have to see. You know, so let's hope that, you know, that's going to be one thing that leads to a big change after this, because these people, you know, they are literally putting their life on the line every day for us. And that's why it is. I can understand why Claude's saying the shoot on site thing. I don't know if I quite agree with that. Although there was a guy, the guy who's in charge in the Philippines, he said the same thing, didn't he? He said about shoot on site as well. So, but I can understand why Claude says that, because when you've got somebody who's going out every day, they're putting on their life on the line to save us.
Yeah.
And you can't even be bothered to stay at home. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy who got fired from Amazon for basically going and speaking out? And there was one guy who said, "Look, I've no problem going around the Amazon warehouse collecting PPE equipment, sending school books out to children. You're trying to tell me items that I'm putting and get these dildos from the shelves, send them out around the world to people without the protective equipment." It's some of the stuff is just ridiculous. And what you've touched on, Robbie, is right. And I hope that whatever government it is, whether it's the British government, the Irish government, that when it comes time to the next round of pay negotiations for the NHS staff, for the paramedics, that the government put their hand in their pocket and give these people what they deserve. Because as you said, it's easy. It's all well and good and a beautiful gesture to stand and clap and show the appreciation that we all feel for these heroes. But at the end of the day, they have families to live, they have mortgages to pay, and they need to be paid a decent living wage as well.
Well, Craig.
There's a question here for Sophie, actually. The question is for Sophie, which, as a British woman, do you enjoy when Alex Morgan did her tea-sipping celebration, USA smashed England to win the World Cup?
Did I enjoy it? No, I didn't enjoy it. Obviously, but you know what? She's a class player, isn't she? And obviously, going on to win the World Cup, you have to just appreciate that. Of course, she was rubbing it in a bit with the celebration. It happens in all sports, though. It's just the way it is. Didn't enjoy it. No, it was rubbing salt into the wounds. But you like I say, she's just a class act, and at least you can back it up with a performance on the pitch. And I think that's the main thing. I think if you're doing that, for example, if Jesse Lingard is still dancing at the moment, the form that he's in, you're not going to feel happy about that. But at the end of the day, she's in the World Cup. She's performing. Obviously, going on to win the World Cup. You can't say too much about it, really, can you? Can't knock her for that.
No, yeah, I suppose it's all banter at the end of the day, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's just banter. I think if you let stuff like that get to you, then football isn't the sport for you.
Exactly.
You just have to appreciate the talent.
Yeah,
did you see politicians? Matt Hancock was interviewed by Piers Morgan, and he asked him if he'd take a pay cut like footballers have done. He was saying that footballers are obviously grilled and they were put under some pressure, being high-paid people in the UK. And he questioned Matt Hancock and asked if he would take a pay cut, and he refused to answer. He wouldn't acknowledge taking a pay cut. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I thought the players were put under very unfair pressure. I thought right at the start of this, where you know, even the other day when Arsenal came out and were saying that, you know, looking for players to take a cut if you don't get into the Champions League, another cut if you don't. And I just felt that was leaked out deliberately to kind of force the players' hand. And, you know, and for me, Stan Kroenke and all the people, they own the club. They're the first people who should be taking any cut. They own it.
Exactly.
To be fair to them, they have now come out and said they're going to waive part of their wages and stuff like that. But I think the footballers, we know they get ridiculous amounts of money, but they're not the only people in this country who get ridiculous amounts of money. And I think they were very unfairly put under pressure to donate. And if you study a lot of footballers, they do give a lot to charity. They give a lot. So, I think it should have been left to them to come forward and then say what, because I'm sure they would have done that. The only thing I would say, I didn't think the PFA handled it very well. They're supposed to represent these players. And is it Gordon Taylor? I think it's time for him to step down. He's almost like a dictatorship with him there. He's been in charge for about 20 odd years. He himself is on about £2-3 million a year. And I just think that he didn't deal with this properly at all. Yeah, I mean, he should have been upfront right from the beginning saying that, listen, the players are talking and we're discussing what we can do for the NHS. That would have been the sort of holding thing. Yeah. And then we would have, that would have preempted any of this sort of stuff that was starting to come out from people asking questions about what the players are going to do, because the players, I think in general they're just not, they're like us with a lot of money. That's the only difference. But I think they would have donated had they have been left to it anyway.
Yeah, they also pay a shit ton of tax. Everybody seems to forget that. If I paid the tax that a professional footballer pays, if I'm Alexis Sanchez and I'm out there getting 400 grand a week, I'm expecting the council retarmacking my road every 2 weeks, Robbie. I'm not going to lie, mate, with the amount of tax that these people are already paying. I think you all nailed it. It is ridiculously harsh to put shine. And I believe Gary Neville, by the way, who's been excellent in all of this. I think that the way he's been statesman-like, looked at this from the point of view of an owner, obviously with Salford City right now, I think he knows football has a big role to play, and football knows it has a big role to play. And what we've all learned from this as well is that sport has a bigger role to play in society than we might all believe. We spoke earlier on at the very start of this about what do we think about voiding or when it might get back. But one thing that I think we forgot to mention is that whenever sport does come back, how slowly that might be, we'll all start to feel normal again, because sport is normality for us. It is our passion. Every single one of us on here loves the game of football, whether your game be cricket, tennis, golf, whatever it might be. That will seem, even if it's behind closed doors, it will start to feel like a return to normality and that we're gaining some control over the world again. And I'm looking forward to that day so much.
Yeah, also, that's a great point. As well, look at listen, what people don't understand. Look at the amount that's lost to tax revenue if a player has a pay cut, for example. That is lost to the tax man, and that is about, look, say for example, Ozil loses half his wages. Yeah, look at the tax that's getting lost on that's going to the health service. That's going to be completely lost. So people don't understand that as well. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I think they wanted the footballers the footballers, I think, want to make sure that whatever they do, and they all do see, I'm sorry for talking over you there, Sophie. I think they all do want to do something. They just want to make sure, for want of a better phrase, that they get the most bang for their buck for the NHS and those frontline workers that need it, and that there's no red tape, bureaucracy, and wasted money.
Exactly. That's what Wayne Rooney said. He said that obviously he's more than willing to donate, but he wants to know where the money is going. And people criticise saying that, but I think fair play. I completely get that. You need to know where the money is going. And like Robbie said, I'm sure I said beforehand, there's lots of footballers out there who I'm sure want to donate, but they're not quite sure how to go about it. And I think this Players Together campaign is really strong and powerful, and fair play to everyone who took part in it. Yeah,
and then, and as I said, I mean, you've got owners of clubs. Remember, I can only speak about the owner of our club. He's a multi-billionaire. Right, he's probably worth more than every single Arsenal player put together, right? And there was no talk about him donating. He weren't being put under pressure to donate. Mike Ashley, who furloughed his staff, who still hasn't reversed that, by the way, he's worth a lot of money. He's not talked about cutting any of his money or donating. The guy at Bournemouth, who's another billionaire, right? Didn't hear nothing from him about cutting his money, but yet still they're putting it on players. And remember, not every player is on Mesut Ozil or Alexis Sanchez's wages.
Exactly.
Right? There's also players at this stage, right, that will be worried sick because their contracts run out at the end of the season, they probably don't even know if they're going to have another club that's going to come into them, because, you know, clubs now are going to be really tightening their belts because of the whole circumstance. You could have a player that he's out of a job completely. So I thought it was very, very unfair. Let the players, if it would have been left for a while and they hadn't done anything, fair enough. But as I said, the only thing I do say is that the PFA, they should have been more proactive in this, representing those players and saying, listen, steady on everybody. We're working something out. The players at the moment are discussing what we could possibly do. And that would, you know, but they didn't, you know, so I think that didn't help.
Yeah.
Well, how about that health secretary actually giving half his money up? Yeah, how about that? And all the money that he's claimed off expenses over the years. Let's how about all that coming off the you know, I'm sick of it. The hypocrisy of it all, mate.
He's working more hours than he should work, so he shouldn't take a pay cut. I'm pretty sure that was his response to it, that he's working above and beyond.
Working more hours. Well, yeah, okay, yeah.
Can I change the tone a little bit for a second?
If we had 600 people, 600 sheep in the House of Commons, I don't think there'd be much difference. Anyway. I'm sorry.
Cool. Let me ask Craig, just your take on it, because obviously Liverpool were one of the clubs that was going to put their backroom staff on furlough. I mean, what was your take on that, Craig?
I felt like every other Liverpool fan, my friend. It was humiliating. It was everything against the beliefs of our club, of our fan base, what it stands for. Look, I'm not a Scouser. I can't speak for Scousers. I can speak for Liverpool fans, I hope. We were the first club to post pre-tax profits of £100 million. For you to then put people on furlough and take advantage of a government scheme that you don't need to. If you had asked Liverpool fans and said, look, we might not be able to afford a player this summer because we want to do the right thing by our staff, what do you guys think? I think every single man, woman and child would have said, look after our own, because that is how this club is, and that is how I believe Liverpool fans see it. So I don't buy into the reason that it was PR that forced them to turn it around. I think it was a disgrace. I very rarely speak out negatively against my club because we do a lot of things right in my eyes, but there's no defending this one. It was wrong on every single level, and you can't use phrases like "this means more," "you'll never walk alone," and then use these things as ways of selling the club, putting the cop up as images to bring in sponsors and stuff, and then almost spit in the face of the ethos of the club by doing what you did. So to me, I have to say
what's happened here? Sorry.
Oh.
Hello? Sorry. I don't know what happened there. What's happened there?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Slight technical hitch.
What's going on?
Here was Craig.
I think Craig.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you guys heard what I said, but I can hear you.
I think the health minister's got hold of my YouTube. Anyway, let's go.
No, Craig, I think you were spot on what you said there. Every Liverpool fan that I spoke to pretty much agreed with you, saying they were disgusted by it. Ultimately, they've made the right decision now. But I was really shocked at Liverpool. Out of all clubs, I was really shocked that Liverpool took that decision, because it goes against everything, doesn't it? And like you said about Newcastle, obviously the takeover talk for them as well at the minute, involving Mike Ashley. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think you know what, it's as an Arsenal fan, we were sort of discussing this yesterday. You've got to be worried about this. I mean, these are Saudi guys coming in. They got a lot of money. You know, Saudi money is different money.
Yeah.
Right? So, they're coming in. Newcastle, for me, is already a big club. They've got a massive fan base. You know, those guys have been down in League One and they're still getting 40, 50,000, right? Yeah. So somebody who comes in, throws a lot of money at that, unlimited funds, that's going to be another major force. It makes getting into the top four harder for every club now, because they will be, make no doubt about it, they will be a formidable force. And those Saudi guys are not going to be investing to lose. Those guys don't come in to lose. They're coming in to win, right? So I think, you know, there's a lot of clubs now that are going to have serious money. Everton, as we know, they got our ex-guys pumping loads of money into their club. So I suppose in a way it's quite good for the league because it makes it more competitive. But yeah, I mean, they're going to be a major force.
Were you shocked, Robbie, at the price? Because to me, to buy a Premier League club, like you've said, with a stadium the size of St. James's Park, with a fan base as loyal as these guys, for 300 to 340 million pound, that to me seems an absolute bargain.
It seems a steal. I suppose you could look on it and say, Newcastle have not won anything for a very long time. I think Mike actually got it for a lot cheaper than that as well. He's had a lot out of it. He's going to be making a good profit out of it. It does seem, when you think you look at a club like Arsenal, they're saying that we're valued like 2 billion. We are a bigger club. It's in London. All those factors have to be taken in, but it does seem quite cheap for Newcastle. As I said, these guys, Saudi, I think the lady who's brokering the deal is the same lady who brokered the deal for Man City for that takeover.
Amanda Staveley and CPC.
Amanda Staveley, yeah, she helped broker that Man City deal. She's involved in this as well. These are going to be serious players, and they're going to be able to have a lot of money when a lot of other clubs are not going to have hardly any money. So Newcastle, and they're going to be a serious proposition when this is completed. It's kind of good for the league, it's kind of good for the league, but for a team like Arsenal, we better start getting our act together because us being down in 6th place at the moment is not a fluke or nothing like that. It's not there are teams better than us. Leicester, Wolves, and we're falling more and more behind. This is why they have to back Arteta. I'm just speaking with my Arsenal hat on now. They've got to back Arteta because there's some formidable teams out there, and they've got money to spend. Yeah,
and they're only going to get stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Robbie, where'd you get 6th from? We're 9th.
Is it 9th? It's been so long. It's been so long since we played any football off the top. Oh man, I'll tell you, I miss football so badly. I really do, man. I really miss.
Robbie, I know you've got a busy schedule and you've got to do your own thing tonight. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I'll stay on for another 10 minutes, mate.
Before you go, can you tell everyone what you're doing on at the weekend, because it's a big event on YouTube. Can you let everyone know what you're doing?
Well, just a bit, just like what you guys are doing, which I think is fantastic tonight. We're teaming up with the guys from United Stand, and we're going to do like a 24-hour live stream over the weekend, and the same thing what you guys are doing, trying to raise as much money as we can for the NHS, because just like what you guys are, I agree with you guys. I wanted to try and see if we could do something where we could give something back.
Yeah.
Because these people are, as I said, at the moment they're like soldiers on the front line.
Yeah.
Every day, up until a couple of, about a week or so ago, they didn't even have the right equipment.
Exactly.
And yet still they're having to go and treat people. And so, imagine you're going to work every day and you're thinking, I even got the right equipment, I could get this.
Yeah.
But you still go and you still treat people. And I think, I was just like seeing some of the things on TV and that, I just felt like we've got to do something to try and give something back to them and show appreciation for them. So thanks for making me mention that, and thanks for having me on here. This has been brilliant. I really respect what you guys have done as well. Because
before you go, Robbie, everyone remembers. I think we've all seen the documentary that you put out. Which was really good. Really good. It was quality. And I cried when I actually cried when you said about your dad couldn't go to a game of football, which I found very, very sad. Of course, my condolences go to you, because I know he just passed away in the last couple of weeks, and he never went to see a game of football. And I really felt really down about that, that he couldn't even go to watch the game. And I want to say what a great documentary. I think everyone here will say here.
Yeah,
what a great documentary you put on.
Thank you very much, Claude. I mean, what we wanted to show with it, there's been quite a lot of documentaries about racism in football, but there'd never really been one before from a fan's perspective. And I think what we wanted to show, and first of all, let me say, and I've been saying this all along, I think there's been massive improvements in football. There's very few grounds you go to now where you're worried about, being attacked or somebody coming up to you and racially abusing you. There's been massive strides made, but it has been creeping back in a little bit recently, and we just want to put a stop to that. And I wanted in the documentary just to show people how it feels. So, when you heard like that guy, the Chelsea guy, for instance, talk, even though that incident had happened to him years and years ago, it still touched him very deeply, and that's what racism does. It touches you deeply sometimes, and you don't forget it, and that's why I was glad that the documentary was so well received, and it was good to see something that you've been a project that you've been sort of working on and you had an idea for quite a long time, sort of come on TV. So it was a proud moment. And my dad, unfortunately he never got to, because he sort of always had it in him that it's still the same as it was back in the day. And I was like, Dad, it's not, it's changed. It's not like that, no. But because of what happened back in the day, he still had that in him and said, no, I'm going to go there and some guy's going to roll up and call me this and that. It's not like that, Dad. Come on.
It's that saying though, Robbie, and sometimes it's a case of once bitten, twice shy. And I think
Yeah. So
that's a true saying.
Yeah. I'm glad that he sort of got that kind of got that message across. But it was good, and I was really grateful for everybody who watched it. So thank you very much for that, Claude.
Can I just say, Robbie?
That's right. Chadwick's coming. Sorry, mate. Chadwick's coming with a super chat there. Does Claude still have a crush on the Queen? Yeah, I love Freddie Mercury.
Claude, I didn't know that.
I love Freddie Mercury. I love Freddie Mercury. That's the answer to that one.
That one.
Can I just say to Robbie, obviously, the condolences to your dad passing away, mate, and
thank you.
The documentary was fantastic and all. You definitely showed the other side to what's going on inside of football. And also just say thank you and all for reaching out to Claude at that time, because it's well documented that Claude, bigs you up all the time and said that, if you didn't give him that phone call, he would have walked across the motorway and that. So I remember that time. But you know what? I just look on it and I say, if you got a friend, right? And I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that period about mental illness, because I think a lot of times, sometimes we think we know about mental illness and we don't. And when somebody's saying to you, "Listen, I've got a problem," the main thing is you need to listen. And all I did that time with Claude is I just listened. Yeah.
But Claude, trust me, Claude's a star, man. Claude is this guy's got right. He's got. So, even though he just said that he wants to shoot everybody on sight, he's got such a kind heart. He's just got such a kind heart. So when he called me, I've got to jump in my car and be on the way there, because the guy's got such a kind heart, man. Trust me. From the day I met him, man, and he's so funny. He's one of the funniest guys I've ever met. Right? So
exactly.
No. He's a strong guy. He's a very, very strong guy, and that's why he was able to pass that period. You know what I mean? And Claude, you're doing good things, mate. Well done.
Fair play to Claude as well. Can I ask you one question before you go?
Yeah.
So you talk about racism in football. What do you think about sexism as well? Because obviously that's another problem in football that I face. Women's football is getting bigger, of course, and it is growing. But the sexism still exists. I mean, first in the chat, I saw a troll earlier on saying, "What do women know about football?" That's something that I face every single day. And
I apologise. That should have been blocked. Sorry.
No, I'm used to it, Claude. I'm used to it. It's fine. But I was just wanting to ask, what's your take on that? What's your opinion?
That's the next thing that we face now is sexism in football. I mean, I've been to quite a few women's games. I was at one of the last games of football I actually watched before the lockdown was I went to watch Arsenal ladies play against Man City in the Conti Cup final. And it was a great game. And women's football, I really like it. The standard of it is very good. A lot of families go along to it as well. And the women have a really good relationship with the fans as well because they're more accessible. So I enjoy it. And, women now, somebody said that earlier, Alex Morgan, I think if she was a man, how much would she be worth? She's an exceptional footballer. So some of these things that I see sometimes, we get it on our channel, and you get, like Pippa, we was doing a thing last night, we had Pippa on, and then you'll have somebody comment, the kitchen and all this crap, you know what I mean?
Everywhere, it's everything.
Think to yourself, mate, you're a dinosaur. This dinosaur talking now. There's so many women coming to football, and that's a great thing. For me, that's a great thing. You want to see women at football. It's not just a bastion of men. And I like the way the women's game is growing. And I was sort of making a point to Pippa last night that, everybody's talking about what's going to happen to the men's game. What about the women's game? Because
it's
obviously...
an extension, is it? The same
and plus as well, they don't have the budgets because Pippa was sort of talking about one of the Arsenal women's players and saying that, she, unlike a lot of the male players where they can go and exercise in their huge gardens and that, she lives in a block of flats. So she can't train. She can, So, but I think, it's a bit like racism. We just got to keep going on about it. We just got to keep telling people that it's unacceptable. And then over a period of time, it's going to change. I think we're seeing a lot of movement and improvement in women's football already. But, unfortunately, Sophie, you're right. It still exists. I see it all the time. As soon as we get a woman on, some of the derogatory comments, some of the, you don't know about football. A woman only has to say one thing when we get them on our channel sometimes that fans don't like. So a woman says, I don't rate Ozil. Oh, my God. Right?
Everything
that has to change. We've got to do something about that, honestly.
I will say something. I think the technical level is really high. It's really high, the technical level. And
I was saying last night. I
still remember that the way Sophie took the Mickey out of.
Because I remember when Sophie done that. I was like, what? Right, and then you was telling me that you used to play, didn't you?
Yeah, played for Wolves in England.
I
was like, bloody hell. She's a good player. But no, you know what? And I was saying last night to Pippa, I go, if Vivian Miedema was a man, how much would she be worth?
Exactly.
I like the women's game. I think it's good. I think this, especially, I haven't seen a lot of it on the lower level, but at the sort of Premier League level, it's very, very good. Or WSL is very, very good. And also there's my son, he's 10, he plays football. I've started to notice as well that you're seeing a lot more women's, girls playing football. Every time you see a boys team, you're seeing a lot of girls teams as well. So it's getting bigger and bigger. And the more it keeps going like that, the more the dinosaurs start getting pushed out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's what's going to get rid of it in the end.
Can I say, Sophie, that if that's the case, then if you would like to come on our show more often to get more women involved in football and things like that, I'm sure I'll speak for Claude and the Bansers. We'd love to have you on more.
Appreciate that, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about getting, like you said, Robbie, girls involved in football, do coaching at a young age as well, and that's the whole point of my channel, really, just to give women a voice in football. I saw that there's a gap there where women don't. You see quite often a woman is put in front of a camera purely because she looks good, and I don't want that. I want it to be there for our knowledge. Do you know what I mean? And that's the whole point of it. That's what we're trying to put across. So.
By the way, while you're here, Sophie, your dad's a big Wolves fan, isn't he?
He's a big, massive Wolves fan. Yeah.
How comes you? This is why I'm shocked. How comes you never became a Wolves fan?
Because when I was born in '92, and Manchester United were always on TV, class of '92. And watching Paul Scholes, I just love Paul Scholes, like a massive idol of mine. And he's the reason why I started playing. Like I was trying past like Paul Scholes, and it turned out I was pretty good. So my dad would take me obviously to play football. I got skated for Wolves at that point from my school, and that's why I was playing for Wolves. But my dad took me to United. My dad's got a bit of soft spot. He doesn't like to admit it, but he just like United a little bit. And he took me to obviously my first United game, and I just fell in love with him. But it's mainly because of goals, to be honest with you.
What's wrong with your dad, man? What's he up to?
The normal process is to follow in your dad's foot. Yeah, but I just wondered because he's a big Wolves fan. Do you have a lot of arguments when Wolves play United?
You know what? It's the worst time of my life when we're playing. I loved it when Wolves were the league below, so you only have to play them in the cup. I hate it. It doesn't. At the minute, the way Wolves are playing as well, and the way we are, like I never thought I'd see the day where Wolves are literally bantering us. But no, I would say arguments is banter between us. We take the mick out of each other. It's all healthy. But he is loving life at the minute as a Wolves fan, definitely.
Robbie, just before you do go, Robbie, just before you do go, and I'd like to come to Craig after, and then Sophie. Who is the biggest derby out there? Is it Arsenal, Tottenham, or Man U, Liverpool?
No, without a doubt, it's Arsenal, Tottenham.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
For me, without a doubt, you know what I mean?
I disagree because I'm talking about as a neutral here. As a neutral.
You're not neutral.
But no. Listen, you're biased. The biggest derby in British football is Liverpool Man United. Even though it's not really a derby. It's not really a derby because they're not that close, but because of the rivalry.
It's not a proper derby anyway, like you said. For me,
what about Newcastle Sunderland though?
Globally, I'm talking about globally. Globally, it's the biggest derby.
For me, Claude, yeah. For me, Claude, right. The most hostile derby, right, is Arsenal Tottenham it's just as hostile as Liverpool Man United, but also it's always the most entertaining derby as well. There's always a lot of goals in it, even when Tottenham are crap, which is most times. They always turn up for that game, right? So you always get a good derby between Arsenal and Tottenham. I don't know. I suppose I am a bit biased. But that derby, it's not always just huff and puff. There's always good football in it.
Yeah, hold on. The question should have been put different. It's more to do with rivalry because it's not really a derby, is it, Liverpool Man United? It's not really a derby.
We've got Liverpool Man United on here, haven't we? And we've got Arsenal at the moment. So
no, what I'm trying to say is it's not. I agree with you what you're saying, Terry. What I'm saying is what is the biggest rivalry? And you've got to say that Liverpool and Man United, followed by Arsenal. I think Arsenal are the third biggest.
I think Millwall and West Ham is worth a shout, Claude. That's worth a shout.
On. Now let's be serious.
That's fan-wise, Diesel.
You know what? Actually, Sophie makes a good point. You know what? Newcastle and Sunderland. I remember one time, right? I was we went up for an Arsenal game. We stayed in Newcastle overnight, right? And there was this couple there. One of them was Sunderland. I think the woman was Sunderland and her husband was Newcastle. And we just said a couple of little things to wound them up, and they nearly had a fight. So that is. I mean, there's some. I think Birmingham Villa as well. Yeah. That's another hostel. But I'm gonna go for Arsenal Tottenham. It's always a top flight game as well. It's always a very, very good game. It's always entertaining, and the rivalry is unbelievable, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's still one of them games you go as an Arsenal fan. It's a very scary game to go to. You know what I mean? So that rivalry for me, that's the number one for me.
Yeah,
I'll get Craig on this one. Craig, what do you think?
The numbers speak for themselves, and that Liverpool Manchester United is the most watched game, I think, in world football. I absolutely. I mean, I had this discussion with Troops, with Steve McInerney, and with Chelsea Rory Jennings on an 888 video before, and I get the Arsenal Spurs thing. I honestly do. I see expressions, and I see Troops sitting across the table from each other, and I feel it. I feel it. And I do think that you probably picked out the two biggest derbies in the English game for sure. But people probably expect, and maybe some Scousers would say the Everton thing. But for me, I grew up surrounded by Manchester United fans over here in Ireland, and I'm sure as much as I despise Sophie's club, I'm sure Sophie's sitting there despising my club every bit as well. And it's great that we can come together for stuff like this, but for me, it's got to be Liverpool, Manchester United, because I despise them. I despise them so much that it hurts, man.
No, we despise Tottenham more. I'm telling you. I mean, I could tell you this, right? That last summer, right, it would have been like a coronavirus if Tottenham would have won that thing, because every Arsenal fan would have had to been in lockdown as well. Exactly. We would have to been in lockdown all summer because we wouldn't have been able to come out if they'd have won the Champions League.
Oh, no. that was never happening though, Robbie. I mean, to me,
thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate what you guys did.
So arrogant.
My summer.
Once we beat Barcelona in that remarkable game, it was oh, this sounds so bad, but it was like, yeah, well, it'd be nice to pick up that cup in Madrid, won't it? Because it's Spurs, and we know what happens when you play Spurs. It's Spurs.
As I said, I've got to go now. Before I go, I've got to say thank you. You saved my summer last year. Right, so to every you and every Liverpool fan, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to think I'm playing a part, mate.
Robbie,
thank you very much, guys.
Take care.
Keep supporting the cause. Thank you very much.
Robbie, you know you like my bro, isn't you? Yeah.
You're my bro, man.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, Robbie.
Thank you. And thank you. And lovely. That's,
we missed one thing here. We've spoken about racism in football, correctly so. We've spoken about sexism, as Sophie pointed out, but there's been enough baldies on this show, Claude, that we need to talk about the hate that us baldies get, mate.
Baldism.
Hold up.
I'm keeping quiet. I'm saying nothing.
Take you out of Diesel.
Hey, there you go. Look, do you know what I mean? It's a real thing, man. It's a real thing.
I know, but you know what they say. The baldies are better in bed. Anyway.
Hey, go on, Claude.
Anyway, let's forget all that. What am I going to say? Sorry, I didn't mean that, Sophie. By the way, I didn't mean that. What's going to come to
strike one?
There was one question that I wanted to ask everybody, and I meant to ask Robbie before I went. Hand on heart, and biases aside, who's your Premier League player of the season so far? Because it's a discussion that I've seen a lot of Manchester City players come out and say that how's Manchester City player never won it, even though they've won so many leagues, and I kind of hear where they're coming from. To be fair, so I wondered what you guys think.
Henderson from Liverpool for me.
Who is that, sorry?
Henderson
from Liverpool.
He might have been Mane for Liverpool. I think he's come up with some massive goals. He seems to be the go-to guy this season. I don't know what it is. He's just phenomenal. So Mane, but I know a lot of City fans argue Kevin De Bruyne should be up there as well.
I think Henderson's been magnificent this season. He's my man of the season. Henderson.
Van Dijk as well, though. You got Van Dijk, obviously, who's joined Liverpool. He's been absolutely phenomenal. One of the best centre-backs in the world, if not the best centre-back in the world right now. He has to be up there as well. It's hard. For me, it has to be a Liverpool player. I think you've had so many standout performances. It's hard. But, yeah, De Bruyne has been quality. He's passing. I don't think I've ever seen a player pass like him. I see loads of people comparing him and Pogba. For me, they're different players. And De Bruyne, I think, on his day, is phenomenal. But the injuries of what's let him down. He's injured too often for me.
Yeah. Diesel?
God, you know what? It's a really good question, Craig.
Robbie Savage, you said earlier on in our podcast?
Yeah, I know, but you know, it's I mean, no one touches Robbie Savage. No, that was a joke, guys, by the way. Right, don't abuse me. Yeah, don't abuse me. Do you know what? It's tough because I personally think Kevin De Bruyne is the best player in the league. In that position. I think he's class, probably one of the best in the world in that position. And like you say, Sophie, I think injuries aside, I've seen that man own games. The assists he gets, the goals, you know, these aren't one-offs. He does it on a consistent basis. The man is absolute class. But then I do agree. I think Liverpool, was it 27 out of 29 games you've won? Something like that. You can't look past Liverpool. And as much as we're going to say, you know, the glamorous names, the Manes, the Salahs, for me, I like the water carriers, you know, for lack of a better term. I like the guys, you know, who make the team tick. Take them out of the side. It's not the same side, and you've got to. I've always admired Henderson. I know he gets a lot of stick from a lot of people.
That's my choice.
I know, but I think Gigi Wijnaldum is a very good shout as well, because your midfield, I would crave that for Arsenal, and I keep saying it. We need 3 hard-working midfielders like you guys have got. Forget the number 10, but for me, your midfield, you know, Salah and Mane and Firmino are brilliant, but your midfield, for me, is what makes Liverpool tick. So you've got to give it to one of their midfield. Wijnaldum, I'd probably say, edges it over Henderson, because I really like Wijnaldum. Very unsung. He's an unsung hero for me. Very underrated.
Henderson as well. Apparently, he's one of the main voices behind this Players Together campaign as well. Apparently, fair play for that as well. You have to just obviously commend that. Henderson, he's a Mr. Consistent. You get at least an 8 out of 10 every single game.
Brilliant. I think he's been brilliant.
He's just an old-style captain and all.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Old player like that, and you know, he's fantastic for Liverpool, Jordan Henderson, and I would pick him and all, Craig. I would definitely pick him as player of the season in the Premiership this year.
Yeah.
Craig, who was yours?
You know, it has been difficult because Sophie raised Kevin De Bruyne, and you cannot have this conversation without including Kevin De Bruyne, because the man is a phenomenal footballer. He is a technician like no other in the league. He is phenomenal. You said he's the closest thing to Paul Pogba to you. To me, I see a lot of Steven Gerrard as well in the way he goes about his business. It comes down to Jordan Henderson and Sadio Mane for me, and I've seen Jordan Henderson do what Jordan Henderson has been doing for years, and I've been banging the Jordan Henderson drum for a long time when people have been calling for the captaincy to be taken away from him. And you don't get to where you are being Jordan Henderson with having Gareth Southgate, Brendan Rodgers, Steven Gerrard, anyone you've ever worked with speaking highly of you. And Sophie touched on his leadership qualities there. I would love to see him win it. I mean, it would make my heart shine. But if I'm being brutally honest, I would probably tick the box for Sadio Mane, because I think he has had an unbelievable season, and he is one of those players that is so unpredictably brilliant that I think, it's such a tough one. And if either of those two won it, I mean, I wouldn't be in any way disappointed. But you are right, Sophie. You cannot not include Kevin De Bruyne in the conversation because he's phenomenal.
Yes, Giant Fisher, sorry to interrupt. Giant Fisher's come in and said, "Can you transfer this to NHS?" Yes, I will do that.
Well done, Joanne.
YNWA, that's You'll Never Walk Alone, I suppose. Yeah. Anfield Agenda. Craig, never give up, she says. Craig, never give up. So
well done, Joanne.
Well done, Joanne.
Cheers, Joanne. Thank you.
Is the most overrated player in the Premier League? I got asked this.
This is easy.
Most overrated. I'm going to let you guys go as Arsenal fans, because one of them is an Arsenal player that I actually thought of. But
this is easy.
What's that? What are we going on? What are we talking about now?
Who's the most overrated player in the Premier League?
What was Craig's final outcome on the
Mane?
I'd go with Mane, but my heart would love Henderson, but my head would go with Mane. But I mean, I hope it's Henderson as well.
That's fine. I went Henderson. You went Henderson, Diesel.
No, it's a good shout. I do like Wijnaldum. No, just to be different, I'm going to go Wijnaldum because I like to be different.
Terry?
Henderson and Sophie?
Mane for me.
All right, so it's a bit of a
Come on,
you kind of have to give it to Henderson because Diesel was Henderson Mane or Henderson Genie, so you kind of have to edge towards Henderson.
Go on. We'll let him have it.
Let's go on Sophie's question now. Who's the most overrated?
Sophie's, your question was what the most overrated player?
Yeah, in the Premier League. Who would you say of last 2 years?
Last 2 years?
Last 2 years, you'll say. So, I mean, I'll be straight up. I think Mesut Ozil's been proper overrated.
I love you, Sophie. I love you.
I was thinking today, he should be in Harry Potter. I swear he's got invisibility cloak because he's constantly disappearing in games, like constantly. And I think his form at Real Madrid obviously was quality, and you expected a lot more from him coming to Arsenal. And he's just never hit those heights in an Arsenal shirt. I think he's so overrated for me. He's my choice as the most overrated.
Do you know what, Sophie? I'm going to go to your club now.
Yes.
I'm going to go to your club, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to go for a player who I think should be doing a lot better, and it's Paul Pogba. And I like Paul Pogba. I think on his day he's a fantastic player. To me, I think he's one of the. He's not produced what he's capable of for Man United.
I mean, I've said Paul Pogba, he brings a whole circus with him, and if he's performing on the pitch and you're getting the best out of him, you have to kind of take it as it comes. But he hasn't been performing on the pitch. You could probably count on both hands the amount of quality performances you've seen from Paul Pogba in a United shirt. We know he's all got the ability, like you've already mentioned. We've just never. He's got to be classed overrated at the minute. I'm just hoping that with Bruno coming in, that we get the best out of Paul Pogba.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, for someone that's come in for 90 million, I expected a lot more.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's how I look at it. But I agree. You're going on about Mesut Ozil. I agree. I agree to a certain extent on that. I just feel as well with Ozil that
he's been playing with shit.
Maybe he hasn't got players around him.
But you could argue the same about Paul Pogba, though. A lot of Man United fans have
said. And maybe that's where we have to look at it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about Craig. What does Craig think?
I've been racking my brain sitting here trying to figure out what you kind of use as context. I wouldn't say that it's Ozil, because I don't know many people that actually rate Ozil. If I'm being honest with you, I think a lot of people think that there was potential there that was never fully released. Somebody who I don't understand the hype around. I'm going to give you two names, and I'm going to be slaughtered for both. Harry Maguire, because I don't know how on earth he ever became the world's most expensive defender when he's not fit to lace Virgil van Dijk's shoelaces. And secondly, Dele Alli, who has underperformed far too much. Yeah. It's difficult because I understand that Harry Maguire has taken time to settle and develop at Manchester United. So if I was to pick one, I'd probably go with Dele Alli, because I think Dele Alli he dropped off a cliff. I mean, when he came in to Spurs, I remember how close we were to signing him at Liverpool, and we messed that deal up. And I remember thinking he could have been our Gerrard replacement. He could have come in there and done a job. But for me, he just hasn't progressed. So I'd probably inch towards Dele Alli. I don't mean to have a slight dig at United, by the way, with the Maguire thing, because I have a lot of good Leicester City fans who said the same thing, that they haven't been massively impacted by him leaving, bringing Soyuncu and stuff. I just don't see the hype around it, and I don't know if some of that is because he's English.
Like you say, English is a massive factor to get hyped up and overpriced if you're English. We know that happens. But I think with Maguire, I do think he improved on what we had. I think he has strengthened us at the back because he's got that lead. We've lacked somebody who's a leader. I think we really lack that character, and I think he does bring that. He's too slow. I think he's far too slow. Like you say, we overpaid for him massively, but I do think he improved us. I can't say he's overrated because, like I say, he's made us a better side defensively, along with Wan-Bissaka as well, who I think has been superb, by the way, this season.
Wan-Bissaka, by the way, I have to say, sorry to cut across again, the best one-on-one right-back defender that I've seen. I mean, Trent going forward is a machine, but the way, I'll never forget how much he bitch-slapped Raheem Sterling. It was a thing to behold. And as a one-on-one defender, I think he almost goes, go on, I dare you. I think you've got a frighteningly good right back there going forward, and a very, very good player in Wan-Bissaka.
I mean, people are constantly comparing, obviously, Trent from Liverpool and Wan-Bissaka. It's almost a shame that we can't have a combination of the two for England, isn't it? Because like you say, Trent going forwards is absolutely superb. Wan-Bissaka defensively is not near impossible to beat. He's a bit like Inspector Gadget. His legs just seem to extend. I don't know how he does it. But like you say, one-on-one, he's quality. But yeah, overrated player. You said Dele Alli. When he played against us, Renke Duns absolutely tore us apart. And you are right, he hasn't really been consistent enough, has he, for Spurs?
No. But for me, I agree with Claude. Paul Pogba, I've never rated anyway, to be honest. Just for me, I just don't see what the big deal is with him. I don't think he's ever had a fantastic game in the Premiership. That's just my personal opinion. And the same with what Craig said about Dele Alli. I've never rated him either. To be honest, I just thought he was a one-season wonder. But me, overrated for the last 2 years, I've got to go with Jesse Lingard. I just think, you know, what I mean,
another one, yeah. And make sure his agent don't come. Make sure he doesn't come to Arsenal in the summer as well. This is what's worrying me. It's worrying me that he's coming to Arsenal. That's what worries me, because his agent's got close contact with Arteta. I don't want him at our football club. I do not want him at our football club. Stay at United, man.
He'll be dancing every week.
Oh my God, no dancing! I bloody dance on him. Never mind.
I've said a lot. Jesse Lingard gets talked about all the time, but he had that format where people called him Messi Lingard, and he was banging in goals for fun. And he was quality in that form, but you know what they say, class is permanent. And Jesse Lingard, he isn't class. He's a squad player. He could probably play lower down for a team in the Premier League, but no way should he be a starter for Manchester United.
Well, we had enough of Sylvester from you. I don't want any more rubbish coming our way. And Mkhitaryan. I don't want no more rubbish coming our way. Thank you very much. You can
we had Alexis Sanchez. You should have been paying us for that deal, honestly.
I just feel Alexis is just maybe the wrong manager got hold of him. I don't think it weren't suited him and Mourinho, was it? Come on, let's face it.
The fact that he's gone to Italy as well and he hasn't exactly lit the league up there, I think it shows that maybe he's at that time in his career now where he's starting to come down. And
it's a shame because he is talented. He's a very talented player.
And his attitude as well, like his work rate at Arsenal as well as the talent. Like he was a player that I really feared when we played against Arsenal. Alexis Sanchez, but it's just a shame it just didn't work out. Like, see a lot of United fans hating on him. I just think he's at that point in his career now where he's starting to take a downturn.
I just feel that he's not one that gets mixed. He doesn't mix with players a lot. That's what.
Yeah, he seems quite isolated, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's the only problem. But he's a very talented footballer, and you know what I love about him? When Bellerin come out and said, "Oh, he wants to win too much." Well, bloody hell, I'd rather have him than that bloody Bellerin, who thinks more about fashion than football. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he wants to win too. What a thing to say, though. He wants to win too much. I don't get that. I don't understand that. Sorry.
Some people just don't have that mentality, do they? But I saw someone asking in the chat, where do we think Sancho is going to end up? So obviously a question at you guys, where do you think Sancho will end up? It looks like
he's another one that will go 50-50 for me. I'm not sure about him, you know. I'm not sure about him. He's another one that's hyped up a lot.
I'm always wary of the English overhyped. I'm always a bit wary about that. He's talented, and we really need a wide player who obviously has got quality, and I think Sancho would fit us perfectly. But the rumours of Liverpool, Real Madrid are also interested. Where do you think he'll come to Manchester United?
He was at Man City, wasn't he? He was at Man City, weren't he?
Yeah.
And then they let him go. I don't know. I mean, is the Premiership for him? I'm not sure. I mean, I watched him for England. He's done a couple of good performances for England. I don't know. I'm not so sure. I think it's a gamble. I think it's a big gamble, whoever takes him, to be honest with you. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, we've all got different opinions, and that's what makes the world go round. I mean, Craig, would you take Sancho at Liverpool?
Would I take him? Yes, depending on the price point. Where do I think he will end up? At Manchester United, if I'm being bluntly honest about it. I think from everything I've read that there has been more. Look, I've not claimed to have any inside knowledge, but I'm somebody who reads a lot of newspapers and reads a lot of transfer gossip, and I think Manchester United is his most likely destination for a number of reasons. Where we are in the world right now, there's only going to be so many clubs that can afford to lay out the type of money that Borussia Dortmund are gonna want from, and they're talking about something similar to the Ousmane Dembele money, so roughly £100 million and upwards. Would I take him at Liverpool? Yes, but I don't think he is one of the two that we need. I want Liverpool to sign Timo Werner, and I think we will. And I want Liverpool to sign one of either Kai Havertz or Houssem Aouar, and I can never pronounce that gentleman's name. But one of those two, and Werner for me would be perfect. But I could see Sancho at United, if I'm being honest. But I know these Liverpool fans hate me for saying that now.
I've been watching Werner on YouTube. He's quite good on YouTube. Not YouTube, on FIFA. He's quite good on that. That's for sure.
What's more you were watching, Claude? That's good. I'm joking.
I do like Werner. I do like Werner. But,
no, he's good.
I think he'll go Man United.
I'd love him. I would love him at Arsenal. Nice swap deal with Aubameyang. That would do it. We wouldn't lose out there, would we?
What's going to happen with him? I've been thinking about this. I mean, I remember the situation we mentioned Ozil earlier on, and I remember at the time when Ozil was at the club and Ozil got the wages they did, Aaron Ramsey wanted Mesut Ozil money. Now, at the time, from my limited remembering of this, he was doing roughly Mesut Ozil numbers on the pitch, but you decided to let him go. Now, with Aubameyang, to me, I mean, I'm saying give that man what he wants. Give him a 2-3 year contract, because there are not many Aubameyangs in this world that guarantee you 20 plus goals a season. The man knows how to score.
Craig,
I don't think
there's a lot of people in our fan base. I don't know if I was on Terry Fewers' show last night, and there was people on there, and unfortunately, it seems like the younger generation saying we should cash in now because he's 30, cash in now and get the money, and then try and reinvest and rebuild Arsenal. And I'm trying to argue with them, saying, look, he is our best player. He's our best asset. If you sell him and then you get players in like Pepe and Guendouzi and all these players, and it takes them a year to 2 years to bed in, we could literally be looking at relegation without Aubameyang's goals. So why on earth would any fan say that? Would you say that?
If you want to move your club on, you need Champions League football. There's no doubt about that. That money is vitally important. So you need Aubameyang there. Now, okay, you might have to write off any potential sale of Aubameyang down the line with regards to an income, but I think you're at a point now where the way his transfer fee has been amortized over the course of his deal, you probably say, hey, look, we can write this one off. For me, if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'd be looking at us to make sure that we keep players like Saka, who, by the way, I think is a tremendous young footballer. But I can't understand it. It's short-term thinking. Aubameyang gets you to where you want to be, and there are other players you can probably move on to make money. And I won't even pretend to know that I know the financial situation that Arsenal Football Club are in. But for me, man's a goal-scoring machine, and there aren't too many of those around.
Exactly.
The only thing I'd say with Aubameyang and what's going to happen now, because we've got a climate now where I don't think there's going to be much money floating around, and what sort of price it would be offered for it. If it's about 30 million, I'd rather keep him, because we might as well keep him, because we ain't going to get any decent replacement for that. So I don't think he'll go. I think he'll stay, actually.
As a United fan, you're looking out there, we need a goal scorer and we need a centre forward. And Werner, you've already mentioned, Haaland already went to Dortmund. There's not that much choice out there. Jimenez probably from Wolves.
I don't think he'll go Man United. I think they'll be all right.
I'm talking in the grand scheme of things. There's not many strikers out there.
No, exactly. What I'm trying to say is, I don't think if what's with the current market that's going to be really low, I don't think anyone's got any money, because we don't even know when football's coming back, and there's going to be a lot of teams, a lot of clubs are going to lose money hand over fist here. So what I'm trying to say is, if it's 30 million, we might as well keep him. We might as well keep him. What's the point? I might as well lose him in the season.
I know what you're saying, Claude, about keeping him, but I personally think he wants to go.
Yeah,
so
but
my whole thing on it is, what would you keep a player? Yeah, but you're saying that if you've got a player who doesn't want to be.
Sorry to interrupt, mate, but it's 8 o'clock and it's time to clap for the NHS. So I just want to clap for the NHS.
It looks like we're all doing slow motion claps.
I thought we were going for the Icelandic clap there.
It's probably because I've been using the soap every 15 minutes.
There we go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's there's a few people shouting outside my window there. That's great. That's great, and we all have to appreciate what they've done and what they're doing at the moment. Incredible effort being made.
Got fireworks going off here.
Same here.
Yeah, bibbing, there's people bibbing outside. Yeah, bibbing.
Yeah.
That's good.
Guys,
Oh, look,
reminder as well,
Ryan Gooner.
make sure we don't
Ryan
like
Gooner. Hi guys, how you going? How you going to Clapford? It's 8 o'clock. Thank you very much. That's Daniel. Please follow his channel. It's a lovely guy. He's a big Arsenal fan, and he's just beginning his new channel. And they had Kevin Campbell on, which was a very great interview with Kevin, talking about everything Arsenal and everything else. A lovely human being. And Daniel, thank you so much for that. And I'm definitely going to help you with your channel. I'm going to support your channel well, and any help you need, I'm here for you, mate. Right. Thank you for that. Well, where was we at before all that? And it's still bibbing outside.
Can I bring the conversation around to a point that you and Robbie touched on earlier on, and that I think is important during this time, and that's mental health. I just want to, if it's possible, just to get back to that for 1 second, because there are people like myself and Claude who have had mental health problems in the past and continue to battle with them going forward. But there are also people right now who are feeling things they've never felt before. They're feeling cabin fever. They're feeling scared. You can't protect what you can't see. You can't defend against what you can't see. So I just want those people to know that talking, like coming on here and doing these streams, and I'm sure Claude will say the same, has gotten me through some of the darkest times that I've ever been in. And I've been privileged enough to be part of a community that have helped me. So even if it is picking up the phone to your mate, to your neighbor, even if it's to call him an asshole, just to let him know you're thinking of him, it is important during these times, and it is important to maybe set small goals and always remember that there are brighter days ahead. But if there's one thing that we can take from this, is that these difficult situations make for stronger people, and we will come through this together, when we will come through this better people at the end of it. So please don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to show your emotions. There is nothing wrong with asking for help. I have a phrase that I like to say, is that we're all fucked up in our own unique, beautiful way. And just don't be afraid to expose yourself, because and I don't mean expose yourself in that sense, but to let yourself be vulnerable, because being vulnerable is to be human, and we are all human at the end of the day. So much love to anybody out there that's been suffering right now. We're all here with you. The NHS are out there on the front lines doing what they're doing, and because of that, some people aren't able to access the therapists or the counselors. So talk to somebody. Never feel like you're on your own. And from my point of view, thank you for the help you've given me, and I'm sure Claude will be the same. But it is such an important thing during this time that we remember that it's okay to speak up, and it's okay to show vulnerability, and none of us are invincible.
Great.
That's a Craig, yeah.
Great point.
Can I just say, Craig, obviously, like Sophie said earlier on, in football, there's, racism and sexism, and amongst mental health, there's a big problem with men. Because it's an eye statistic that more men commit suicide than what women do. So, and all that is down to is just talking, unfortunately. There's no shame in talking and saying what's wrong with you or trying to talk it out.
I lost both my parents, killed themselves at various different times in their lives. One the long way through drink, the others through suicide. So, yeah, it is something that's close to my heart, obviously, and something that I'm very honest in speaking about. But the reason I lost my dad is for the very reason that you're touching on, mate. It's that bullshit machismo, that bullshit, you're not a real man if you ask for help nonsense that we need to put to bed. And speaking up like Claude has bravely done, like myself and many others are going to continue to do, let people know that, you know what, it takes a real man or a real woman or a real person to say, I need help. Give me some help. Because you'll always find somebody there. Robbie was there and he was available for Claude. And that is a fucking beautiful thing to see. Excuse my language. But I've had similar people there for me as well. And yeah, there's no shame in it. Like, if you are going, I'd actually be more concerned if you are going through life happy consistently, because we're all going to suffer at some point. But as I'm sure Claude will attest to, even in the darkest of moments, there are positive times ahead. and there are going to be happy moments ahead, and they are worth fighting for. So continue to fight on.
Well said, Craig. And
let's just show it as well and make sure people obviously are donating. We just clap for the NHS. Let's make sure we're donating as well and giving something back, like we've mentioned. Yeah. But Craig, completely well said. Really strong of you to say that as well.
Can I just also say all about Craig? Obviously, what a lovely fella he is. Because I mean, we didn't see the video the other day. Before I emailed Craig to come on this show, and for the NHS, and we didn't see his video, and he obviously was so kind enough to email back and say, look, sorry at the moment, I'm taking time out, I'm not in a good place at the moment, which then made me go and watch the video. Watching it, I was in bits, mate, to be honest. Seeing someone like yourself having to go through that and think that you're on your own, because anyone that's going through that, I would just like to say, just reach out to someone, anyone, because you're not on your own. And then to get another email back to Diesel and say that, you changed your mind, you'd love to come on, you want to get back in the wheel, as Ole Gunnar Sophskjaer would say, you know what I mean? You want to get back behind that wheel and get back in here. I mean, you to do that, with what you was going through, and take the time out to email us back and message us back, I can't thank you enough, because there was, there's a few people out there that are really busy that didn't even get back to us, which I understand. But you going through that, I just want to say thank you very much, because that was brilliant, mate. I
mean, when I made that video, and I haven't watched it back, believe it or not, I made the video. It's about 3 minutes long. It's just me crying, basically, for the video. And that was it. I had no plans on ever doing anything again with regards to content. That was the end of it. But I got over 2,000 messages from various people across various platforms, from Manchester United fans, Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans, Boca Juniors fans, whoever it might have been. But you know what got me back was that these beautiful, kind messages, my wife got to read them, and my wife smiled when she read these messages, because she could see a community of people that reached out and helped. And when I first said no to being able to come on here, I thought, you know what? This is the very reason I should be saying yes to come on, because I want the people who are in the NHS and the people who are doing the support to know that we've got our little bit to do here as well. So people ask me, like, you should take the video down, it's embarrassing. No, I will never take that video down, because that video is a true reflection of where I felt and where I am now, because of that love and those virtual hugs that I've received from people around the world, has got me to a beautiful point where I'm so humbled and pleased to be able to be on here talking with you wonderful people about a wonderful cause. So thank you so much for the invite, and I'm sorry I said no in the first place, but thank you again for the kindness you've shown back towards me.
Thank you, mate. And also you, Sophie. Yeah. Also you, Sophie. You got straight back to us, and I can't thank you enough for doing that and coming on the show.
I'm honoured that you've asked me to come on the show, and it's a pleasure, obviously, to give something back to the NHS for a great cause as well. And to be here with you guys as well, I appreciate it. Some really touching stories that I didn't know about, and obviously sending my love to all of you. And my DMs are always open. I'm always there if anybody needs to talk. I think it's really important.
You'll come on my channel again, will you?
Of course I will, yeah, anytime. Even though you do disrespect my FIFA skills, I'll come on your channel, Claude.
How can she not come back on with the bald lover like you are, Claude?
Exactly.
No, I think Sophie's one United fan I do like. I love Sophie. She's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Appreciate
and one of the best YouTube people on YouTube. I always vote for her on the awards. You know that, don't you, Sophie? I always vote for you.
Yeah, I love that. To be fair, you've backed me from day one, and I love that. Never forget that. So don't be here for each other. That's what we're for, isn't it?
Yeah, because listen, I asked Rance, but he's not come back to me. I'll have a word with him about this.
Second choice. Is that what it is?
No, you're not. No, you actually was first choice, and then I asked Rance as well, but I don't know what's happened. He said, hopefully one day we'll get him on as well, because
it was his birthday yesterday, I think.
He's a nice guy, eh?
It was his birthday yesterday. I think maybe that affected it.
Oh, right. It was his birthday, right. I didn't realise. I'll have to wish him happy birthday as well. But thank you very much for coming on. Craig, as well. Thank you for coming on. I can't say enough, mate. Thank you so much, giving your time as well. And I know what you're going through at the moment. I hope things really do pick up for you. And I hope, and I think deservedly, Liverpool can finish the season off. And I know Sophie ain't going to agree with me, but
no, I do. It kills me to say it.
But I hope you can finish the season off and be champions, what you deserve. I think it might be behind closed doors, but at least get that title, what you deserve after 30 years. It's 30 years, isn't it? That's since the last time.
30 long years, my friend.
Exactly.
30 years.
I think it would be tragic if that happened, that they didn't win it. But even if they didn't, I think they'll still win it. Probably still miles ahead next season anyway. Diesel, thank you very much also for coming on, mate.
Claude, just a quick one. I just wanted to say quickly, just echoing a little bit what Terry said.
How many notches have you got on that bedpost, by the way? There's a few
as the days go on. Enough about me. It's not about me, is it? No, I was just going to say, it's very hard for me to blush, by the way, that you just made me blush. It's for obvious reasons. No, but listen, just a quick one for me. Just go back to Craig quickly. Craig, just to echo what Terry said. We spoke a few times on Twitter, and I just wanted to say, really appreciate you coming on. To be obviously the issues that you had. I watched the video as well. My heart went out to you, and in my opinion, like I said to you, what better way to make a comeback than to do a show like this? And I say this to Claude all the time, which he will back me up. For every one or two bad comments you get from idiots on the social media platform, whichever it is, for every two bad ones you're getting 20, 30, 40, 50, loads of love, you know. So listen, it's things like that when your back's against the wall. I think it's when you realise just how much people love watching you on here and how much people think of you. And all I would say is, as hard as it is sometimes, never lose sight of that, you know. Because obviously we're quite new to it, doing all this. We've had our fair share of dodgy comments or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, for every dodgy one we're getting a lot of love. And for me, that's what we focus on. So yeah, just obviously, Craig, really appreciate you coming on. Would love to have you on again. And Sophie, listen, I've really enjoyed it today. Really appreciate it. I watched a bit of your channel. Love your videos. That lob, as Claude said, I think I've watched that about 4 or 5 times now. So yeah, listen, obviously more than welcome. Really appreciate you guys being on.
Appreciate that.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really
Also, the man has put all this together. I've got to say, Terry, thank you so much. You put all this together and all the hard work you put in putting this thing together tonight. Thank you so much as well. Brilliant. Well done, Terry. I couldn't have done it without you, mate. Well done, mate. And thank you very much for that.
No, thank
I have
you.
one quick question that my subscribers have asked me to ask you guys before I go, and I can't. The Bansters. Please explain, because I've tried, I've Googled, I've searched, I've tried everything I can to figure this out. And the guy that runs the YouTube channel with me just said, do not get off that stream without finding out what the Bansters mean, please.
Terry?
Well, we was on sort of another show, and then we sort of left there, and we was wondering what to call ourselves, and we wanted to have a bit of a laugh, really. Do you know what I mean? We just wanted to come up with a name that sort of where we could have a laugh and not take ourselves too seriously. So we come up with Boardroom Bants at first, and then we just thought, no, let's just go with the Bansters, just like Bansters having a laugh. And it was 4 guys originally, but then obviously Claude fantastically offered to come with us and help us do a new channel instead. You know, instead of doing 2 channels, we might as well just do one and concentrate on just the one and make it as big as we can. So then,
well, you know what, guys? I wish you every success with it, because I've smiled right through this. In we had some serious moments, but just to be here with you guys and and be able to be part of this. I wish your channel, I know it'll go from strength to strength, but I wish you every success, and hopefully we can come back on. I can get you guys over to mine and Sophie as well. Brilliant. If you'd be willing to come on as well, because I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and it's helped me smile in a time where I've needed to as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Also, before we go, I've got to also give this two bouncers that couldn't get on tonight because we had a full house here, but they've also put work in. Saheen and Lev in the background have put a lot of work, putting work into the channel. So I want to thank them as well. But they're cool. As you know, we can only get 6 people on the channel tonight, and I wanted to get the rivalries from different clubs. So I want to thank them as well before we go. Exactly. I don't know what more to say. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you.
Keep donating, guys. I think that's the main thing, isn't it? Keep donating. Keep contributing.
Donating. There's one on Saturday. There's a 24-hour one, which I will be participating. I don't know if I can stay there 24 hours. I mean, I will.
We need to eat, don't we, Claude?
Unless there's about 10 bottles of wine by my side. But no, being serious, thanks for everyone in the chat. Thanks for the people that have donated. The ones that came on Super Chat, I'll transfer that over to the NHS tonight, even though we did put no Super Chat. But anyway, I'll transfer it over, and we'll do it that way. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all you guys tonight. Thank you, and thank you, Sophie, so much for coming on, and thank you, Craig. Thank you, Diesel, and the main man, which this couldn't happen tonight without him, Terry. Thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you, obviously, for Diesel and the other bouncer, the other 2 bouncers in the background, Lev and Shaheen, who's not on tonight, but Claude and all, you're fantastic. I couldn't have wished for a better bloke to work with, to be honest. What you've done for us, giving us a platform, is fantastic. Sophie, thank you so much for getting back to us straight away and offering to come on this show tonight and help us out to raise as much money as we can for NHS. Next time, if you do come on, what we do is if you want to send me over that clip of the chip over DT, I'll play that on before you come on.
Sure, DT, I love that.
That'd be brilliant. And Craig, like I said, I mean, you know, with what you're going through, mate, if you ever need any help, please, you know what I mean, don't hesitate to give us a shout. Any of us at Golden the Bouncers, we'll always help out with whatever you need. And like I said, you said you was a big boxing fan, MMA fan. We're looking at doing shows on that and all. So we'd love to get you on one of them shows too, mate.
By the way, Matthew, I did read your Super Chat earlier. Yeah, I will transfer it. Your Matthew Doyle, I will transfer it over. By the way,
sorry, can I say a big, massive thank you for everyone in the chat and all that's come in, contributed tonight, and also contributed to the NHS. Because without yous, I mean, you know, we're nothing anyway. So also, if you could just please hit the like button and the share button and subscribe, that'd be brilliant. Thank you very much.
And please keep donating as well, because even if it's a little bit of money, even if it's £1, £2, just donate it, because every little penny, every penny helps. Yeah, keep going, keep donating, and don't forget there's one on Saturday, 24-hour with AFTV and United Stand. That's going to go on for 24 hours, so that should be good as well. Let's go. Let's get the NHS back on. You know, let's give them the support that they really deserve.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you, everyone. Take care. Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
You got to sign out, Claude. You got to sign out.
Oh, yeah, you got to sign out.
That's right. I'm going to sign out differently. It's time to raise.
Come on.